I treat a lot of runners in my practice, and some of those runners require orthotic devices. Not all of them. Certainly, I think actually most runners probably do not need orthotics, but there are certainly some foot conditions that require those. And the fact is, as we get older, we're more likely to need the support of an orthotic device. So what I want to talk about here is there a best orthotic for runners? And just real quick, I'll go into this more in a second, there really isn't a best orthotic. So here's the foot, obviously. What we're really doing when I see a runner with a foot problem is we're looking at what is the problem. So let's just take a condition such as arthritis or pain in the big toe joint. Now, you can find a lot more information in other videos of what that, how we treat that problem. Also, just go to the website and do a search for big toe joint pain or bunions, and you'll find a lot of information. But in general, pain in that big toe joint occurs because that foot is rolling in. The last part of a human step is that big toe joint should bend like this. But if you're rolling in, as you go forward, these jam together, and these two bones create really quite extensive compression between them, and that can cause a lot of pain in that joint. So one of the ways we treat that problem is to use an orthotic device that stops that foot from rolling in and decompresses that joint. The point here is that really what we're doing when we're looking at designing an orthotic for a runner is looking at what is causing the pain and what do we need to do to relieve that pain. How do we relieve the stress on the tissue that's either leading to pain or leading to damage to that tissue? Sometimes just moving them into a different shoe is fine. Sometimes certain exercises will work, but sometimes we really do require the support of an orthotic device. Often a good over-the-counter one like this one here works fine. One of the key things we want to look for with runners, there's some really interesting studies showing that if you add extra cushioning, and if you look at this custom orthotic here, this blue layer is an extra layer of cushioning under the cover of the orthotic. That is a material called Poron, which is the best cushioning material currently made for runners, in that it doesn't compress over time. So there's some really interesting studies showing that if you add extra cushioning to the orthotic device, that will slow the velocity of the foot as it hits the ground and decrease shock through the lower extremity. The other thing we want to do specifically with runners is make sure that the orthotic is wide enough, that it should be under the entire foot. You don't want your foot coming down on an edge of the orthotic. You're going to start feeling that edge, particularly with the forces of running. Now, when you're walking around, if it's a little narrower than your foot, you may never notice it. But on running over time, you will absolutely notice that. So two of the things, again, we look at extra cushioning and a little bit wider orthosis. Other than that, what we're doing with these devices is dependent on what the problem is. If a patient is turning their ankle, I want an orthotic device that helps push them back. If they are having too much pain in the heel from plantar fasciitis because that foot is flattening and stretching the plantar fascia, I want an orthotic device that grabs that arch really tight and stops it from going down. So I think it's key to recognize that there is no one best orthotic for runners per se. Really what we're looking at doing is treating the individual patient for their individual problem, and then there are some specific modifications we're going to make the device work best in a running shoe. So that's it. If you have other questions on specific problems you're having for running, go to our website, do a search for that problem, whether it be heel pain or arch pain or front of ankle pain, and you should find plenty of information, both on how you can treat this yourself at home and when to go get a professional opinion regarding professional treatment. So that's it on running orthotics. If you are liking these videos, please subscribe.